Zeus, Brandon, what took you so long?
Oh, well, I figured we're stepping away from the lobby. Figured I'd leave a sign there for anyone that pops in while we're here in this kind of cool little attic.
Yeah, so what'd it say? Like something like, welcome to the movie theater lobby. Brandon and Leia had to step out for a moment, but have a seat and grab some snacks and we'll be right back.
Yeah, how did you... Yes, exactly that. Really, truly, honestly, exactly that. But, okay, so anyway, I had no idea that the lobby had an attic.
Right? But that's not the coolest part, Brandon.
No, okay, so let me guess. Maybe the coolest part is this... I see this little intercom system here. You think it works? Hello, testing. Oh, hey, works. Sounds like it works, at least.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. But not only do we have an attic and an intercom now, but I found this old box full of weird, creepy stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like some old manuscripts in here, some film reels, some audio tapes, and some kind of other kind of creepy stuff, some costumes.
Yeah, all right, I like that idea. It's like a little treasure trove.
Yeah.
But you know what? Kind of thinking about it now, seems kind of coincidental, don't you think? I mean, this week we find an attic with an old box, weird old stuff in it, just when we're set to talk about...
Sinister?
If we don't like it here, once I sell my book, we'll move back. But only if we don't like it here.
Really?
Really.
Sinister, a 2012, very creepy horror film. Some ominous music kicks in, and an 8mm film rolls. We get the grainy, disturbing image of 4 individuals. What looks like 2 adults and 2 youths being hanged in what would otherwise be a very lush, comfortable backyard. There is a branch-cutting pole saw being manipulated by some invisible force, and as the limb being cut falls away, the struggling victims meet their terrible end. Finally, in stark relief from the disturbing imagery, a man and a woman cheerily tease each other as they carry boxes from a moving truck into a very quaint, cozy-looking home. These 2 are Ellison and Tracy Oswalt, played by Ethan Hawke and Juliet Rylance, respectively. Ellison finds his daughter painting on walls in her new bedroom and doesn't scold her, but encourages her creativity, with the stipulation...
Okay, now my little artiste, what's the #1 rule?
Paint only goes in the bedroom.
And where doesn't it go?
Anywhere else in the house.
Right. Okay. Now, come with me. Move some boxes.
Going back for more boxes, Ellison and Tracy discover the local sheriff has arrived to more or less welcome them to the neighborhood.
What can I do for you?
Well, not much, I expect, unless I can convince you to load those boxes back on that truck and leave as soon as you're able.
The sheriff feels the community needs time to heal after the tragic murders that had occurred here, and not be taken advantage of by an author seeking controversy and speculation. Oh, did we mention this house that they're moving into? This is exactly where the hanging from the opening had taken place, but don't say it too loud. Tracy doesn't know yet. Ellison heads to the attic to store a box or 2 and unexpectedly encounters a scorpion. Of course, scorpions would not be native to this part of the country, so no wonder he's a little shocked. Nothing a dropped milk crate can't handle, though.
Yeah, dead.
Squash. But wait, what's that in the corner? A lonely box with an 8mm projector and some reels labeled benign titles like
Family Hanging Out 11. Barbecue 79.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
So of course Ellison is going to watch them. I mean, honestly, who wouldn't? Expecting to see some old, fun, loving family movies, cozy little memories. Ellison is rather disturbed to discover that these films are all capturing the murder of a number.
Snuff films, if you will.
Snuff films, pretty much exactly, yes. In fact, Family Hanging Out 11 is precisely the crime he has come here to write about. But I'm going to be honest, I can't say that I'm thrilled to describe these events in detail. So let's just leave the investigative crime author to do what he does better than me, while we get back to just chatting a bit.
Sounds good.
Wow. You know what? This is like one of them FBI profilers' offices. You got a map with pictures connected with yarn and everything. This
Deputy,
is incredible.
I need you to step outside, okay? No. This is my private office. I'm serious.
So let's talk about director Scott Derrickson.
Scott Derrickson.
So I am ashamed to admit I didn't realize he did The Gorge, which we just watched not long ago.
Not long ago.
And he also did a segment called Dream Kill in VHS 85.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so his debut feature was Hellraiser Inferno, which went straight to video.
Of course.
Yeah, which he, in an interview, had said that he felt bad about that one because he was so focused on like the visuals that he didn't focus enough on the actors and what they could contribute to the film. And he feels like it could have been a much better, even if it was straight to video, he feels like he could have done a much better job had he worked more with the individuals involved in the film instead of just the production of the film. Let's
say at that point in the Hellraiser series, there was a lot of room for a step up.
Yeah, and he could have really brought up especially seeing all the stuff he's done, he could have brought his A game on that one. Because
he really could have.
After that, he did The Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Black Phone.
Yeah.
He also did Doctor Strange.
Yeah, right.
He's also going to be doing Black Phone 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's done a few films that people would be familiar with, just maybe not his name so much.
And a lot of them that I've really enjoyed, honestly.
Exorcism of Emily Rose was actually Chicago Film Critics' top 100 scariest films ever made. But then he said, hold my beer.
Right, yes.
Because
I've got something else to do.
We read about a study that was done in 2020 on Forbes magazine called The Science of Scare Project. And this movie, along with 34 other scary movies, were played for an audience. And they were all hooked up to heart monitors. And the Sinister film was part of those 34 films. It actually had the highest average heart rate at 86 with a spike at 131 beats per minute, which deems it the scariest movie ever made, according to Forbes magazine.
Yeah, and that was
in 2020.
In 2020.
Yeah.
In 2021, the movie Host took that spot. And again in 2022, but hold on. Sinister came back.
Yeah, did it?
2023 and 2024.
They put it up against them again, and it
Sinister
was still
regained its crown.
Yeah, and I would say back when I was younger, this would have been one of the scariest movies I've ever seen.
It's one of my most favorite horror films. I love it, love it, love it. It is super creepy. Yeah. Yes, it does have some cliche use of jump scares.
Yes, but they're good jump scares. Yeah. So we can't give all the credit to Scott Derrickson because while he directed the film, he's not the one who entirely wrote it. He's not the one who came up with the idea.
Yeah.
That idea goes to C. Robert Cargill, and in not so surprising way of coming up with a movie idea, he had a dream.
Yeah. He had a nightmare after watching another horror movie.
Yeah, what movie was that?
The Ring.
The Ring.
Yeah. And not Ringu, the Japanese
Ringu
version. It was the American version.
He has a dream that he's watched a film that was found in an attic which depicts a hanging family. And that's the jumping point for the rest of this film. Both Cargill and Derrickson worked together in writing this film using his ideas. They actually came up with the scary entity in this film by taking the idea of the boogeyman, but instead of making him a demon, turned him into a deity.
It's a symbol associated with the worship of a pagan deity.
A deity? What kind of deity?
A very obscure one, dating back to Babylonian times, named Bagul, the eater of children.
Which I thought was kind of an interesting twist because that's not, you usually see that very often.
Yeah,
so.
No, usually the boogeyman is just the boogeyman, but this time they made it a lot more sinister.
A lot more sinister. They really wanted to place it outside of one's perception of religion because, of course, demons are very intricately tied to religion, whereas a deity can be outside of someone's personal scope of religion.
Right.
It's still a religious thing, but it can be anything. It's not just Christianity or it's not attacking anyone's religion.
Yeah, not necessarily. No.
Yeah. Did you read about how he came up with the face for Mr. Boogie, or they call him Bagul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. That was kind of a cool way of going about it, honestly.
Yeah, it was interesting. And then, I found a couple conflicting places where he searched. I heard it was Flickr. I heard it was Google.
Yeah.
But they basically did a search.
Regardless, the internet.
They did an internet search for the word horror and just looked through hundreds of pictures of horror.
Yeah.
And stuck on this photo of a ghoul named Natalie.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know it had a name.
It has a name.
All right.
It's called
That's
Natalie.
cool.
And he just decided right then and there, that's the guy.
Yep.
That's who I want. They actually played with the idea of making it more like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, like Johnny
Depp's look.
Willy Wonka.
But that didn't stick.
Yeah, I think that would have been a little too goofy.
And they ended up purchasing the image from the creator for $500.
Yeah, that's a decent deal.
So that's pretty cool because that person got the credit for that and they got to use it in their film. He admitted that the face actually appealed to him because it reminded him vaguely of the face makeup that black metal performers wear. The deity's symbol was even inspired by doing research on black metal. They did a bunch of Google searches on black metal too and came up with this symbol.
And the symbol is very reminiscent of the face, so you can see how the two really play off of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Even the background music pulls from a lot of this black metal culture. So I thought that was cool that they put all of that together and didn't just pick and choose different things, but it was like all this black metal kind of information.
They tried to really bring together a cohesive feel.
Cargill, aside from doing Sinister, he also co-wrote Sinister 2. He wrote Doctor Strange and The Black Phone. So he and Derrickson work together a lot.
And that Dreamkill segment from
Oh, did they do that together too?
Yeah, so
I missed that.
They seem to work together a lot.
We see this over and over again, though.
And they make good stuff together.
They
so
do.
they absolutely should continue to work together.
I agree.
Great projects.
Cargill is also a novelist, a podcast host, and a former film critic. So he's done other things, but writing seems to be his...
Seems to be where he really
Screenwriting
shines.
seems to be where he really shines, yeah.
Let's talk about Ethan Hawke real fast. He plays Ellison Oswalt, true crime author at the center of the film.
Interestingly, his name comes directly from two different names. Ellison Oswalt comes directly from writer Harlan Ellison and comedian writer Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt also is...
Serious horror fan.
Yeah, loves horror.
Yeah, and Ellison Oswalt's a neat name. Ethan Hawke is actually a novelist himself, too.
Yeah, he's done quite a bit of writing.
Yeah, most namely, I think The Hottest State and Ash Wednesday were two of his bigger ones.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where he decided he didn't want to just be a vapid actor. He wanted to prove that he could delve into deeper things.
Yeah.
So he became a novelist as well.
He took a little break.
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah, it was pretty early on.
He took a few years to just write.
His first role was at 14 in Joe Dante's Explorers.
I love The Explorers so
I know,
much.
that's why I had to bring it up because I knew you loved that film. He actually nearly quit acting because of that film, though, because his acting wasn't received very well in that film.
Yeah, he was sharing the screen with River Phoenix.
I know, right? He even says to this day, like, if he had a 14-year-old kid who said he wanted to act, he'd tell him no.
Yeah.
He said it was a terrible experience. He wouldn't recommend it he doesn't recommend child acting. Not good for you.
Yeah.
And it's, of course, his personal experience. But luckily, he got back into acting again when he did Dead Poets Society. And that's what propelled him into loving acting.
Oh, sure. That was such a passionate film. I imagine that
And he did good in that one, too. Yeah. Yeah, it's an art piece for sure. It's not just like your regular popcorn movie. It's a movie that has feeling.
Drama.
I mean, everybody knows who he is, but he did Reality Bites. He did all of the before movies, so Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, and Before Midnight. Gattaca, huge one.
Yeah.
Great Expectations, which I loved.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Purge. He played in Tesla.
Of course, The Black Phone.
The Black Phone.
Scott Derrickson and Robert Cargill.
He's also really good friends and creates a lot of things with the infamous Jason Blum. A lot like Ryan Gosling, Ethan Hawke identifies himself as a feminist.
Good for him.
Which I love.
Boy, I love it.
He's also a fellow Democrat, lightly. I think he's not huge into politics. He believes in art over politics, but if he had to choose one, he supported Barack Obama. He, supported Hillary Clinton. He's definitely on that left side.
Boy.
Woohoo!
Well, let's touch on Juliet Rylance real quick.
She plays Tracy Oswald.
I have not really recognized her outside of Sinister.
Either.
Her credits list isn't incredibly huge.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of personal information about her.
She was in the Nick, the TV series that was, pretty well received when it was running. And then a movie called Arthur and the King, which was fairly notable. Outside of that, she's just doing her thing.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
It's nice to be famous, but not so famous that you're stressed out all the time. Like, I wouldn't want to be Ethan Hawke, but I would love to be Juliet Rylance.
Yeah, just an occasional role here or there, and then you go shopping and no one even knows.
No one knows who you are.
Yeah.
I would love
That'd
that.
be great. So there's only 2 other actors that I just want to give a real brief mention of, and then we're out of here. I want to mention James Ransone because he has a larger part in the sequel.
He's funny in this film. He actually
in this movie.
provides, I think, a little bit of the comic relief to a certain
extent.
extent.
The levity, otherwise this film would just be dark. Oppressive.
Yes.
So yeah, he plays the deputy. He was credited as
Deputy.
Yes. That's it. His first or last name was never mentioned in the movie. In fact, in the sequel, he is credited as ex-deputy so-and-so. So
I think this film is it's interesting in that there's not a lot of actors in this film.
No.
And then the ones that the names of is really literally just the family. And then I think the doctor, the professor. Otherwise, it's just the Oswalds. And then you got sheriff, deputy, professor, and Mr. Boogie.
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Plain simple. And, all the other murdered families.
Sure, but you don't know any of their names. Yeah.
James Ransone was also in It Chapter 2, again in The Black Phone, and Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill's VHS 85 Dream Kill segment.
Working as a team.
Yeah. Keeps on coming back.
I love when directors do that because they've got a good thing going and they know it.
So the last person that I want to mention, unless there's anyone else that you want to bring up, is Nicholas King. He played Bagul.
Mr. Boogie.
And he's typically a stuntman.
Yeah, so that's his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Stunt work.
So while he does appear on screen, you don't know it.
No.
At least that's how they want you to perceive that as. But that's what Kane Hodder was as well, too, when he got into his slasher roles. And of course, the stuntman in The Mask, silent antagonist, and Nicholas King is doing the same thing here.
Yeah, the only other one I wanted to mention was Fred Thompson, who plays the sheriff. And the only reason I want to bring him up is because he's actually a former Republican senator from Tennessee. He was also sought as the GOP nomination for president back in the day. Aside from being in politics, he also acted as well. And I believe he passed away like 5 years after the movie came out. So
did he?
Yeah, he was older at that time, and I don't know if he was sick or not, but he had other things going on before he did this.
I guess so.
He was actually pretty smart in this film. Like, it was good role.
Yeah, it was a good role.
All right, should we move on to Acclaim?
Yeah, let's talk about what this film did according to other people's opinions.
Other people's opinions. So legs are a little small, 2.67. That doesn't mean it didn't do well in the box office.
Because incredibly, this did super well.
It did super well. It just didn't do well ratio-wise. Because your opening weekend was 18 million, roughly 18 million. Whereas our domestic box office overall was 48 million. So the ratio is not as good. Worldwide, we did 87 million, though.
Hell of a haul, man.
So double if you look at it worldwide.
Off of that tiny little $3 million budget?
Off of a $3 million budget, man.
Baby.
Yeah.
That is some good eating.
He is another director. Was that the other director that had a small budget, but he made a really great film? We talked about him before. You're thinking about it now, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. Was it Shane? It was
Shane Black.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
It was Shane Black. Yep.
Shane Black is also another director who can get a small budget and he can make this amazing film. Yeah. Not a lot of awards. Fangoria Chainsaw Awards was really the only notable award I found.
And they seem to love it.
Which
they should.
They should, yeah. Nominated for Best Widescreen Film and Best Actor. And it also won Best Score by Christopher Young.
Oh man, the music was so good.
It was really good. And the segments with the 8mm, they were just so
it worked
so good.
Placed. Yes.
Yeah. I love music composition and I feel like it's underrated because when you're watching a film, you don't think about it while you're watching, especially in a film like this. It's so good that it just fits the film that you don't notice it.
Yes, it puts you in place.
Yes, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do. But then you don't think about the composers, and then you read it, and you're like, oh yeah, best score. Well, of course it did.
Yeah, every piece of music fit this film so well. In fact, Christopher Young even said that he did a Google search for scary music and horror music, and he was trying to find lists of the most scary music. And this is where he got a lot of these
inspiration
songs
for that
and artists from. But this film got mixed reviews overall, though it was pretty well regarded for its creepy atmosphere, its dark tone.
Mm-hmm.
Atmosphere, of course, including the music and
Yes.
the visuals, certainly.
Bro, the musicals. The visuals.
Yeah.
Talking about those jump scares too, like there were a couple where even as a veteran as I feel like I am when it comes to horror movies, they still kind of made me like,
Yeah.
Jesus, stop
There's
it.
a
Why'd
few-
you do that, man?
There's a few that did exactly what they're meant to do.
Yes.
And jump scare you. And yes, I do agree with pretty much everybody. Jump scares are cheap, but they're used to excite
But
and create an unease. In the
nothing
audience.
drives me worse than a jump scare where you know it's coming.
Yeah.
And these ones, you know they're coming, but
And they still get you.
They still get you.
Yeah.
Yes, whereas like some of the other ones, you jump scare and you're like, so that scared me. It didn't make you jump at all.
It also got called out a lot for some of the unrealistic horror tropey conceits that it needed in order to keep the plot moving forward. Like, let's be honest, if you found that attic with a whole bunch of those film reels about like a whole bunch of snuff film, I don't know, I'd probably move out.
Or go to the cops.
Or go to the cops.
Immediately.
And I know he, in the
later,
film, he did it for...
once he was getting scared.
To keep his credit rather than turn all that evidence over.
Yeah.
Why not? For as much as your family didn't want to be there, why not just let them go somewhere else?
Yeah,
you
right.
know you're living in this house where...
multiple murders happened. And then to keep it from his wife, too.
Boy, that's
what
treacherous.
The hell? And then his wife to not, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for her not to figure it
I
out.
would have looked into it. I'd have been like, you're not telling me something and I'm pissed off at you. I'm irritated. I'm going to go find out for myself.
I would have looked in the backyard and been like, why is that branch still hanging off that tree?
What is going on?
What is happening here? That seems suspicious.
That's weird.
Oh, we're moving to someplace where a family was hanged? Huh. Okay. Yeah, seems a little whatever. And Leia, can I please, I don't mean to be critical.
Yeah, you do.
But.
Could tell.
The whole subplot with the sleepwalking son.
Oh, that was meant just to give you some scare.
It was red herring.
Yeah.
Did we really need that?
No. Because it had really nothing to do with the film.
No.
In terms of getting to where we need to get at the end.
Yeah.
It was really literally just put in there, I think, to
just
give
to
us
add scares.
Just to give you some scares and to throw off a scent.
Yeah.
To go, this kid must be part of this or something.
Yeah.
He's just a little kid who has night terrors and walks around the house.
Just a poor little...
No, thank you, by the way.
Kid. Yeah, I mean, that is creepy.
No, thank you.
Moving on. I went too far afield. Let's bring it on back. I'll mention a tagline, and then we'll start talking about some other stuff.
Yeah,
right?
All right.
Once you see him, nothing can save you.
Well, if you're a kid.
Well, and the parents. I mean, because if the parents see Bagul, it's probably already too late.
Well,
their
true.
Kids already have been.
That's true.
So there's our tagline.
Okay.
That kind of rounds it all out for us. So let's just start talking about the film here, Leia.
Out with the new.
Oh.
In with the old.
Going backwards.
Flipping
Flipping it around again. We've done that a few times.
The only thing I wanted to mention was that the killings, these snuff films, were actually recorded using an actual Super 8 camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the film they got was from Kodak Studios or the Kodak film.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily for this film, this was the last year they were producing that before they stopped. They discontinued it.
Yeah. They probably would have otherwise had to go to eBay and then pay way too much off of sketches.
They would have still probably done it.
Well, and I did read, and I could never find anywhere to substantiate it. And I know there's a lot of films that use this tactic, and then it ends up, sometimes it's right on the money, sometimes it's just a rumor that floats around. There was another instance where apparently they didn't show Ethan Hawke these snuff films beforehand.
Oh, right, yeah.
So they recorded him actually responding to them. Again, whether or not that's genuine or
and they could have
rumor.
They could have done that the first time around,
Yeah.
but I'm sure they had to do several takes. I mean, imagine they wouldn't do just one take. Be like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
We're done here.
He'd be watching him and be disturbed too early and be like, okay, Ethan, turn around. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like in The Goonies when
Yeah.
he says, holy shit, or something
yeah.
like that. And they're like, dang it, man.
Re-record.
Now we have to re-record, and it's not even going to be genuine anymore because y'all saw the ship.
Well, and even in that one, a lot of the kids said that they had seen the ship prior anyway.
That's true.
So it never seems to work out the way they want it.
No. Speaking of those Super 8 films that they took, many of those scenes were actually quite tricky to record because there was a lot of dangerous things that could happen during the filming of these snuff films.
Yeah.
The scene with the tree hanging didn't actually go so well.
I heard there was a little hiccup.
There was a little hiccup, yeah.
Eee.
Somebody actually slipped in the harness and hung themselves.
Got hanged a little bit.
Luckily, they
accidentally.
didn't die from
Right.
it, but the stunt coordinator for that was fired.
Yeah,
They
understandably
replaced him
so.
or her. I don't know if it was him or her. So they cut him down. He was fine, but that was a little snafu. The pool party was particularly difficult, but they're literally pulling people into a pool tied to lawn chairs.
Yeah.
And they had to be careful that as they pulled them in, they didn't hit their heads or hurt themselves in any way as they're getting pulled into the pool. On top of that, they also had to capture Mr. Boogie underwater, which honestly didn't realize he was underwater when I was watching the Super
really?
8 films. I thought he was a reflection in the water.
I could see that as a thought. Yeah.
So I think they could have done that
They
and
probably
not put him
could've.
underwater, and
But
it would have worked.
The image may have been less clear because it was dark and
That's true.
Super 8. It's already kind of grainy.
Sure.
And, yeah.
So I thought it was a reflection. Turns out they weighted him down and put him in the
just
water.
Put him in the water.
To look up out of the water. The way that Super 8 is shot, you have to make sure that the film is properly rolling, that the cartridge and the light meter are working, or else they just have to reshoot it over and over again. And of course, they didn't want to have to shoot that over and over again because he's
underwater.
weighted down, and they're pulling bodies into the water, people into the water.
Yeah.
So it all had to be orchestrated perfectly so that they didn't have to re-record that over and over again. So, a lot of these scenes were difficult to produce.
Most of the other ones, they were able to use other tricks to get away from having to film people being murdered.
Yeah.
So,
well, it'd be a
less
different
real.
film if it was actual snuff films,
well,
I think.
No, totally. Yeah. I don't think we'd be watching it.
it.
At least we wouldn't be talking about it.
We wouldn't be talking about that right now. Or we would be. It'd be a different podcast.
Definitely a different podcast.
It'd be a true crime podcast.
Probably work out better for us. The film itself didn't have a lot of gore.
No.
It was violent, but it wasn't
bloody.
It wasn't
overtly bloody.
Most of the violence wasn't explicit on film.
Right.
And do you know why?
Well, so not only was there very little blood, but very little cursing and no sex.
Yeah.
And I know why. Because they were trying to get a PG-13 rating, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
Really? You're making snuff films.
Yeah. Well, and it turns out, I was reading an AMA on Reddit with Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill, and they admitted it wasn't so much for them trying to get a rating as a consideration. It's because Scott Derrickson does not find violence or gore scary. So that's the legitimate reason. PG-13 concept may have been part of like a production studio concern, but from Scott Derrickson, let's not throw violence and gore in there because that's not scary.
Yeah.
The creepy atmosphere is
what's really scary. Yeah. At the end of the day, it was still snuff films. So
the content alone
warrants an R.
Get a PG-13.
Yeah, we were just talking about how we watch all sorts of horror films with our 9 and 11-year-old. I wouldn't let them watch this one.
Yeah.
I think it would give them nightmares. It's
too
psychologically damning.
Our youngest one did pop in while I was...
Yeah? Did he watch it a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Uh-huh. Did he? Well, he didn't have nightmares, so must not have been enough.
So it must have been okay.
Yeah.
Even in the intro, I mentioned how we found a scorpion.
Yeah.
The scorpion's not going to be living in this part of the United States.
No, not an African emperor scorpion.
Yeah. And there also was not a coral snake. What's the...
I don't remember what kind of snake that was, but it definitely looked like a poisonous snake that doesn't live.
Yeah, definitely a snake that doesn't live in that area. It is worth mentioning, and they mention it in the film too, a little bit ways through, but that scorpion and that snake, and later on he does also see a dog. All three of those animals, according to the in-film lore that they came up with, are all representations that Bagul is associated with. So it's almost as a way to say, hey, you just moved in, Bagul already has its sights on you.
Mm-hmm. If there was a big scary dog in my backyard, I'd be like, I need to investigate that. But that's just like, done. Yeah. That's all right.
Creepy ass dog in the
backyard. It ran away. It's fine. Everything's okay.
Because I saw a dog. Okay.
A dog.
A very big dog. Like Cujo big. I mean, I've never seen him before.
Did you get rid of him?
He's gone.
Speaking of dogs, in the Barbecue 79, Sleepy Time.
Sleepy
Time 98.
And that's the one where they all get killed in their beds, right?
Correct.
Yes, okay.
There's a Chihuahua.
Oh, right, in the middle.
Shows up.
Yeah.
And it's sitting there barking, fierce. not unfortunately saving the day
No.
in this instance.
Trying so hard.
But for everyone's concerns, you can rest assured it has been confirmed that the dog does not die.
Oh, okay.
So worry not.
Worry not.
The rest of the family dies,
Yeah.
but the Chihuahua,
The 7-year-old in the bed
Yeah.
dies,
Uh-huh.
but the Chihuahua,
But the Chihuahua's
it's
good.
okay.
do not worry yourself.
Yeah, if you have an issue with child death, I will say too, this film is not for you. All I'm saying is that there's a few moments where I was watching it, and for all of my non-issue with horror films,
Mhm.
it is hard to watch a little bit sometimes. But I have little kids, so
Yeah. But again, with the Chihuahua, Bagul has an affinity for dogs.
yeah.
So there's
Just
probably a reason.
just like Hatchet and Jason. He
Oh, yeah.
He won't kill animals.
Kane Hodder won't hurt animals.
Kane Hodder won't kill animals. This isn't really related to that at all. It's not
Okay.
actually related to anything.
All
But
right, just throw it out there.
there's many scenes in the film where Ethan Hawke's character is wearing a sweatshirt that says Bennington College on it.
Mhm.
And I actually wondered while I was watching it, I'm like, I wonder what that means. Like, why would they show that on there? Because usually that's
There's usually some purpose.
some purpose. Well, it's kind of far-fetched, but this is why he's wearing it. Stanley Hyman used to work at Bennington College. Stanley Hyman had a wife named Shirley Jackson. She's actually a famous horror writer.
Mhm.
And she wrote The Lottery and The Haunting of Hill House. That's all I have on that.
That's fine. That's great.
In
It's
case
cool
you were
little
wondering what the sweatshirt meant, that's
Yeah.
it right
There are
there.
a lot of little nods to other people who
Yeah.
appreciate horror in this movie.
Yeah.
Last thing I'm going to mention before we kind of wrap things up. So we talked about the music earlier. Christopher Young, of course, did that search to find, a variety of artists that he found to use in the snuff scenes primarily. He got the artist Ulver and used their song Silence Teaches You How to Sing for the Family Hanging Out 11 and in Barbecue 79. He also used Judge Hydrogen's song A Body of Water for Pool Party 66. He used Agast's Sacrifice for Sleepy Time 98 and Accurst's Fragment 9, the song title, Fragment 9, for Lawn Work 86. He then used Sun O and Boris's Blood Swamp for House Painting 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he splattered a bunch of other music throughout the film. But I want to go back to Agast, because Agast, she's an artist who does a variety of art, but she was primarily known for her music. Her real name is Andrea Haugen, commonly known in her industry as Andrea Nebel. She also goes by the stage name Agast or Agast Manor. 3 or 4 of her songs were used in this film. But I bring all this up because she died in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
She was actually murdered.
Oh, my.
On October 13th, 2021, in Kongsberg, Beskerud, Norway, there was an attack. A man had gone on like a community attack.
Mm-hmm.
He started out using a bow and arrow
Oh, my God.
and actually missed everybody
Well,
with every single shot.
you got to be good at that or else, like, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably good that he wasn't.
So his name was Espen Anderson Brathen, and he attacked 8 people, killed 5, injured 3. It just so happened that Andrea Haugen, Andrea Nebel, was one of the ones that he had actually
So after the
managed to
bow,
kill.
did he go to using something else?
After the bow, he started using a knife.
Oh,
Yeah.
disgusting.
And he kind of went around town to different locations.
Mhm.
So it started off in kind of like the town center area, went to a grocery store, a few other places around town. Apparently he was found to have been suffering from mental illness.
Shock.
So he wasn't held criminally responsible
Yeah.
because in Norway they
Yeah.
go differently. So he wasn't sent to prison, but he was remanded to compulsory mental care.
Yeah, I would hope
So-
so. That's so sad. It's sad that in our society, we don't recognize mental health until somebody ends up getting murdered or
Yeah.
killed or almost killed. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this person needs a lot of help. They probably showed plenty of signs they need a lot of help before that, but nobody decided to help them.
Yeah, he had been showing signs that people say may have possibly been leading him toward this.
Yeah, and
But they also say possibly they were maybe not connected. Who
well, and
knows?
how long had it been going on too? I mean, at some point, some people would probably look at that and go, "Oh, there's
Mhm.
he's going crazy again, saying crazy shit,
Yeah.
like he's harmless though, clearly not."
Yeah,
but-
right. Well, on that down note,
Yeah, on that down note, thanks a
Um,
lot.
yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Do you think we should get back down into the lobby now to kind of excuse everybody and usher them out? They've been hearing us over this intercom. They're probably tired of that crap.
We can.
So anyway, I guess all pretense aside, we do have to make a bit of an announcement.
We do.
Here. It was not an easy decision, not a choice that we're super excited or happy about, but it was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
We've come to find that we've got a lot of outside pressures and things requiring our time and attention. And this podcast takes a lot of time for us to produce.
Takes a lot of time with very little feedback.
Payback
for it, yeah.
So contrary to what people think, we do not just go to IMDb and, find trivia there.
No.
We actually search and
we'll research them, make sure they're valid. I mean, it takes a lot of time to do it.
Yeah, we go through interviews, commentary tracks, stuff like that. It's fun. We do love it. I love digging into subjects.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite things.
Especially this, because when we watch a movie, we're like, remember that? Like, this is so interesting, Yeah.
And it's a process that has really come to enrich our enjoyment of movies.
Absolutely, it has.
Now, we're not going away.
No.
We're just going to decrease the frequency.
Yeah, we'll be moving to a monthly release. So we may have some content that pops up in between, some like little short things, some stuff on our social media. We'll keep up on our socials. We'll still be interacting with everybody there. You can still see us at themovietheaterlobby.com. You can still go to The Movie Lobby on Blue Sky and The Movie Theater Lobby on YouTube. So we'll be posting stuff on all those. You can also find me, specifically, Leia McClevey, at LM Nerdroom at all of those previously mentioned socials. And Brandon, where can they find you?
I'll still be hanging out at Brand MC on Blue Sky. That's pretty much about it. Again, I just really want to apologize to people who really enjoy our show.
Yeah.
We will be also missing this show
Yeah.
on a weekly basis. It's a lot of fun for us. Genuinely, it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? Given time and schedule availability, we may once again increase the frequency of this show. But for now, to avoid having to nix the show entirely, once a month is what we're going to do.
Yep.
With all that expressed, with our apologies out there, we do also want to go to the flip side of that and say thank you, everyone, for all the time spent listening and the support you've shown us while we've gone through these 30 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, we cannot thank you all enough.
Yeah, thank you. And
of course,
Brandon.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
You were going to say that to me, weren't you?
But you got me first.
Got you first.
Might as well end that way. So, Leia, you're welcome. So, we'll see everyone next month.
Next month on The Movie Theater Lobby.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So how would an intruder get up there?
I didn't say anyone was up there. I just said it sounded like there was an intruder. I did see a small snake, though.
Snakes don't have feet. No, I'm guessing that you got squirrels